Cheng Jiyu went all out. He wanted to cut out a path of blood and return later to claim his vengeance. Theoretically, even if there were 3 of him, he would still be no match for either Zhu Haixin and Zhang Weishan. What more now that the two were working together? However, if a martial artist of gushing spring tier threw all caution away and went all out, it was still a very scary thing. Not even Zhu Haixin or Zhang Weishan dared to jump into a head-on clash with Cheng Jiyu. They did not want to be dragged down together with the latter, after all. Furthermore, how long could he last after throwing aside all caution? They only needed to stall him for a while, and after his burst of energy was exhausted, Cheng Jiyu's battle prowess would naturally take a drastic drop, and by that time, it'd be extremely easy to defeat him. "Little bastard, you'll definitely die. All the people in your Ling clan will die," Cheng Wen-kun called out severely. As long as Cheng Jiyu managed to escape with his life, then the Ling clan would definitely be eliminated, unless Zhu Haixin and Zhang Weishan planned to stand guard at the Ling clan residence for the rest of their lives. Noisy! Ling Han gave a cold humph, and his foot stamped down firmly. Pa, and Cheng Wen-kun's entire head was stamped into pulp. Blood spurted out in a gush, and the headless body struggled for quite some time before its movements ceased. This scene struck all the spectators speechless as they thought that this young man really had guts of steel. Killing a man was not impossible, but the scary thing was how coldly he had done such a deed. With one stamp of his foot, Cheng Wen-kun's head was smashed into pulp, yet there was no change of expression on his face. It was just too gruesome. This brat from the Ling clan has the qualifications to become a ruler, to never be merciful towards his enemies, and kill them ruthlessly. That's right, a merciful person, no matter how talented they are, would never live very long. But when I understood that, I was already over 30 years old, and this brat from the Ling clan is currently only 17 years old. He's really impressive. Hunyu's eyes were bright. She had the instincts of a wild beast and could keenly sense the killing intent emanating from Ling Han. She was both afraid and excited, for it was a familiar feeling to her. She wriggled around and really wanted to pounce to Ling Han's side, but because both her arms and legs were tied up, she could only struggle around pointlessly. Though Ling Han had killed one of the culprits responsible, his rage did not decrease in the slightest. The miserable and humiliated appearance of his father and his clansmen could not be removed from his mind's eye, so his killing intent burned even more strongly. His stare fixed upon Cheng Jiyu. This was another culprit, or it could be claimed that he's the chief culprit of this entire calamity. Because if it had not been for Cheng Jiyu, how would the Cheng clan have dared to assault the Ling clan? He definitely must kill this fiend with his own hands. "Get out of my way," he shouted loudly and flew forward in a charge towards Cheng Jiyu. Zhu Haixin and Zhang Weishan were both flabbergasted. They were about to stop Ling Han so that he would not be embroiled in such a dangerous situation. Yet Ling Han shouted, "I want to take down this old dog on my own. Don't the two of you interfere." His countenance was determined and did not allow either of them the chance to refuse. Zhu Haixin and Zhang Weishan could only step back, but they still prepared themselves. As soon as they saw Ling Han in danger, they would definitely step in and give him a hand, even if they would be rebuked by Ling Han later. Ling Han stimulated the lone wolf's blood, and his prowess, which was initially at the 8th layer of element gathering tier, was further upgraded. However, due to the fact that he had not suffered any debilitating injuries, the upgrade from Lone Wolf's blood was not too big, and only allowed his battle prowess to reach the peak period of the 8th layer of element gathering tier. But together with the rapid dance of 5 flashes of sword chi, and the shocking electricity sword arts, his might was still something to be feared. Yet Cheng Jiyu did not feel a single bit of fear. Giving a light snort, he struck repeatedly with his palms, which all transformed into gigantic hands formed of origin power, striking towards Ling Han. These gigantic hands of origin power were extremely solid and easily crushed the incoming flashes of sword chi, fully displaying the might of a powerful warrior of gushing spring tier. "Gah! Gah! Little bastard! What you're doing now is only seeking your own death." Cheng Jiyu was extremely pleased. He could tell that whether it was Zhu Haixin or Jiang Weishan or the various parties of Dayuan City, they had all actually come because of Ling Han. Thus, as long as he managed to take down Ling Han, he'd be able to take him hostage and escape this siege. When he was finally safe, he would of course kill Ling Han with a single palm strike and thus achieve his vengeance, and would never again return to this place in his lifetime. Humph! Today will be the day of your death! Ling Han hissed, waving his sword repeatedly, the sword chi of his attacks seeming like rainbows. However, the power gap between himself and Cheng Jiyu was still too big. With one clap of the gigantic hand formed of origin power from Cheng Jiyu, he could feel his internal organs trembling due to the impact. But because he had already learned the ability of Body of Dead Tree, and also possessed the indestructible Heaven Scroll to help him recover his wounds, he only looked miserable. However, in truth, the repeated attacks actually helped to further stimulate the lone wolf's blood and allowed his power to increase even further. Still, no matter how big the power upgrade was, it was impossible for his power to break through to Gushing Spring Tear. Ling Han frowned. The space in his dantian was now abnormally big, so his ability to last in battle was something to be feared, and together with the ability of self-recovery from the indestructible Heaven Scroll, he could easily wait for Cheng Jiyu to drive himself to death with exhaustion. But he was acting out of revenge now, and to drag this battle out for such a long time. He could not wait. And neither could Ling Dongxing. Moreover, he did not want Ling Dongxing to worry any longer about him. In this case, Ling Han's gaze steeled, and without an ounce of hesitation, he communicated with the Black Tower. He wanted to use the blessing of the Black Tower to strengthen himself and increase his battle prowess by an entire tier. Black Tower, come, give me power. Within his dantian, the Black Tower gave a light tremble, and a mysterious power emanated from it as it started droning. Hong, this power gushed out within Ling Han's body and increased his cultivation level at an extremely rapid rate. 5th layer of element gathering tier, 6th layer, 7th layer. Within the time for him to take a single breath, his cultivation level had broken through to Gushing Spring Tier and continued to further increase after that, finally stopping at the 4th layer of Gushing Spring Tier. It had completely increased his cultivation level with a massive upgrade of a whole tier. What? Having sensed the abominable increase in power within Ling Han, Cheng Jiyu, Zhu Haixin, and Jiang Weishan all felt as if their eyeballs were going to pop out due to this tremendous shock. How was this possible? A martial artist in the 4th layer of element gathering tier actually instantaneously increased his own cultivation level by an entire tier. He truly deserved the name of Alchemy Genius. Zhu Haixin and Jiang Weishan immediately thought that Ling Han must have swallowed some kind of alchemical pill to achieve such a power upgrade, and they could not help the admiration and reverence they felt towards Ling Han's abilities as an alchemist increasing. Whether there existed such an alchemical pill in this world, the two old men did not even have a moment of doubt. They had already come to the stage that they would blindly trust Ling Han's abilities as an alchemist. Damn you! Cheng Jiyu roared, and his palms struck repeatedly. One after another, gigantic hands of origin power came to life and headed towards Ling Han. Ling Han gave a humph. His left hand curled into a fist and flew forward in his own attack. Only his power had been upgraded to Gushing Spring Tier, so he still could not give form to his origin power. But that was all right. The power of the 4th layer of Gushing Spring Tier would absolutely dominate the 1st layer. So with a single punch, the green-colored gigantic hand formed of origin power instantly shattered. Ling Han had already charged forward, and with a wave of his sword, 5 flashes of sword chi flew forward. Pooh! There instantly appeared 5 sword wounds on Cheng Jiyu's chest, causing his chest to become a gory scene of blood and flesh. The wounds were so deep that even his bones and internal organs could faintly be seen. "Old dog, hand over your life!" Ling Han said in a deep voice. "Little bastard, you only forcibly increased your power to Gushing Spring Tier, but how much power would you actually be able to show? I will definitely be able to kill you." Cheng Jiyu released a furious roar. His hands moved continuously as he used the secret art of the Cheng clan, Expert Armed Fist. Unfortunately, though he had broken through to Gushing Spring Tier and was now able to cultivate black-grade martial arts techniques, the problem was that the Cheng clan did not even possess yellow-grade high-level martial arts techniques. Where would they have been able to get their hands on a black-grade martial arts technique? This expert armed fist was only a yellow-grade mid-level technique, so its power was very limited. There was no way it would be able to compensate for the power gap between the first and fourth layer of Gushing Spring Tier. Linghan smiled coldly. If an ordinary martial artist did forcibly increase his own cultivation level by a whole tier, he would indeed be unable to control such terrifying power, because such an upgrade was too enormous. But he was different. In his last life, his cultivation level had been of Heaven Tier, so what could a mere fourth layer of Gushing Spring Tier count as? Linghan waved his sword in a powerful barrage of attacks, his sword chi seeming like rainbows, completely dominating Cheng Jiyu. The fourth layer of Gushing Spring Tier against the first layer, that was going to be a one-sided battle in the first place. Peng. Linghan raised his foot and aimed a kick at Cheng Jiyu's chest. Ka! 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 The sound of bones breaking and fracturing was heard. At least 4 of Cheng Jiyu's ribs had broken, and his dantian was completely shattered as his body slid to right in front of Ling Dongxing. Kneel! Linghan commanded coldly. Nonsense! Cheng Jiyu shouted furiously. Even if he was killed, he would never lower his head in front of his enemy. You have no choice. Linghan waved his sword. Pooh, pooh. 2 splatters of blood appeared, and Cheng Jiyu's foot tendons had been torn, and he could not help his legs from bending as he knelt down in front of Ling Dongxing. Little beast, even if I become a ghost, I will not spare you. Cheng Jiyu spat out blood. He knew that he would definitely die today, so he did not even think of begging for mercy. His eyes were sharp as daggers, as he wanted nothing more than to stab Linghan to death with his eyes alone. Father, this person is yours. Linghan calmed himself. He knew that Ling Dongxing wanted even more to kill this enemy with his own hands. All right. Ling Dongxing's face was filled with killing intent. He recalled how his clansmen were killed right in front of his very eyes, as if they were mere animals to be slaughtered. Their blood had painted the whole Ling clan residence red, and their bodies lay everywhere. His eyes instantly turned red, and taking the sword that Linghan handed over to him, he immediately struck with a stab. Pooh! The sharp sword stabbed right into his chest, and Cheng Jiyu glared at Ling Dongxing with utmost unwillingness. His mouth opened and closed a few times, as if he wanted to say something, but only blood gurgled out of his mouth. His head slanted to one side, and he was dead. Ling Dongxing gave a kick to the body of Cheng Jiyu, and the corpse flew some distance away. He raised his face to the skies and released an enraged roar. From today onwards, there would be no more Cheng clan in Grey Cloud Town.